All right, y'all. So Elidier Alvarez retains his mandatory shot against Adonis Stevenson's. If Adonis Stevenson prevails tonight against Andrew Fafar, by beating John Pascal in another WBC title eliminator for the light heavyweight title, which actually was a pretty good fight. It was a very good fight, I should say, from the start to the end. All I got to say is one thing. Alvarez won the fight by majority decision. One judge scored it 116 to 112. The other judge scored it 117, 111. I thought that 117, 111 score was a bit wide. I thought the fight was a bit closer than that. I scored it 7 rounds to 4 for Alvarez and 1 round a draw, which is the fifth round, because I thought that was a very competitive round, and I gave it to both fighters. I evened it out on that one. So 115, 112 on my score card for actually no 116, 113, since I scored it a draw for both fighters for Alvarez. But all I gotta say is the other judge that scored it 114, 114 a draw. That's Richard Carafo. DeCarafo. I gotta say is what fight was this guy watching? I mean, seriously, that fight wasn't even that close to even be scored a draw. Yes, it was a competitive fight, but Pascal gave away all from rounds 2 to 5, given the fact that I gave him the first round, but after he landed a tremendous counter shot and was able to get off his shots against Alvarez, and then Alvarez was stinging Pascal with his jab. He was establishing it and using his reach advantage, and he was able to use his distance against him to make Pascal think. And from the second round to the fifth round, I believe that Pascal, I thought he would look like he was shot in there, man. He didn't look like he wanted to commit. He didn't look like he wanted to take any risks. Paulie Malignaggi and the other commentators on Showtime had pointed this out, that maybe he was mentally shot, not physically, but maybe mentally, given the fact of how Kovalev handled him the way he did by establishing his jab and then come in with his combinations and feints. So I'm sure that Alvarez and his team have seen that in the Kovalev fight and see how the tactics they need to employ against Pascal. Another factor is that Mark Ramsey, who who's a trainer of Elidier Alvarez, also trained John Pascal early in his career, even in his even as times as his short reign at light heavyweight as a light heavyweight champion. So, well, not saying it wasn't that short, but some his small reign, I should say, as his light heavyweight champion. But yeah, I just think that he was you would think he was mentally shot after you looking at the first 2 to 5 round, second to fifth round. Then he started to turn up the gas at the end of the fifth round. He was starting to employ the body tactics to hope slow down Alvarez, and it may have worked because Alvarez wasn't. He wasn't. It seemed like he did slow down a little bit. It did make him think that it made him second guessing for trying to come inside with the lead right. Followed up with the jab and a feint, left jab and left feint, whatnot. So, but to Alvarez's credit, he was able to shake off the body punches. He was able to walk Pascal down, continue to pressure him, continue to cut off the ring against him. And yet, obviously, we know Pascal, when he's hurt, he is a very dangerous fighter. And I thought there was times that Pascal was about to be taken out by Alvarez, because Alvarez is hitting this dude with some bombs, and he still was able to come back. So Pascal, even though he lost this fight, I felt that he gave a courageous effort, and he said himself in the post-fight interview that it's not over yet for him. So maybe in a mental sense that he felt that, I was able to finish this fight, and I finished it pretty strong. Well, not strong, but he did finish the fight pretty strong, and he probably said to himself that, I may have second guessed myself from rounds 2 to 5, but I found it hard to come back to try to close the gap. And he did somewhat try to close the gap a little bit, but I felt it wasn't enough, given the fact he gave away the rounds 2 to 5. In my opinion, he allowed Alvarez to get off his shots. He was allowed to get off his especially that left jab. That left jab was lethal. And another thing about Alvarez, he's incredibly big, man. It's just like, damn, he's like so big for that weight. So, congratulations to him. And the thing about this has also been, it's a crime, man, that this man has been a mandatory challenger for 2 years. 2 years, and Stevenson has put off the fight against him. And I know Scorsese, low place, I respect the brother to some degree. I do respect him. But, he keeps on defending Adonis Stevenson when he pulls actions like, not taking his shots against his mandatories like Alvarez. All right. I pointed out the fact that Alvarez was, Stevenson was paying this dude step aside money. I don't know for numerous of reasons to fight low tier oppositions like Sean Moynihan. Although that fight fell through, and now Stevenson is fighting Andrew Favariak. So I mean, some people look at that as a pointless rematch, but we may never know, man, because Stevenson has aged, he has slowed down. So we'll see, how effective can he be against Fanfara, even though I do favor him to win that fight, which is coming up. But all I gotta say is it's a crime that Alvarez has had to wait 2 years, and he's been fighting title eliminator after title eliminator after title eliminator. He actually, in his last fight, before this fight, he fought Lucien Boutte in a title eliminator, and he knocked out Boutte, and now that he fought another title eliminator. He didn't, and Jen Grady even asked him, why are you doing this? You didn't have to do this, because you're taking risky steps by doing this. And he said, pretty much, Alvarez says, look, I'm a fighter. I got to stay active. I got to stay hungry. So I'm not going to sit here and wait, for a long stretches of time to get my title shot. I'm going to continue to fight. I'm going to continue to prove myself, and I'm going to continue to perfect my craft. I mean, that's what he said within the line. So I applaud Alvarez for doing what he's doing, but at the same time, it is worth pointing out that it's not fair that he has to go through the situation where the champion is putting off his shot against him for almost the last 2 years now. So it's a shame. And the WBC, if Stevenson decides, if he does win tonight, the WBC has to come out and mandate this fight. They're going to have to order it because it's been 2 years and this guy's waited too long to get his title shot. Far too long. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on this. And for those out there who's going to try to compare this situation to Ndongo and Lipinets, I mean, you guys on crack cocaine if you think this is a similar situation where a guy who you feel is a mandatory shot, rightfully get a shot at the champion, which I'm not denying they should, but compare this situation to Lipinets. You can't because Lipinets just became mandatory less than a few months, and then everybody's screaming that he should get an immediate title shot. For what? I mean, like I said, Ndongo should get them. He should be granted a unification bout. That should supersede mandatories. While Stevenson, on the other hand, he hasn't. Stevenson, yes, he has been trying to get the unification bouts with Kovalev. I do agree that now he's been trying to pursue that fight, but since Kovalev and his team don't want to do it, then the next thing that he has to do is fight his mandatory. I mean, the guy who's earned his shot, who's been waiting for 2 years. That's just my take on this, man. But anyways, do you guys believe that John Pascal has anything left in him? Do you think he still have a career left? Although, he says it's not over for him. He feels that he deserves a rematch against Alvarez. I could see possibly why people will argue a rematch. Obviously Alvarez, he has called out the winner of Stevenson and from Far. So he did say that he hopes that Far wins this fight. Maybe perhaps he feels that's a more easier fight to win than Stevenson by saying that. But it is what it is. Let me know what your thoughts about this. I'm out.